My chosen ones, listen closely. I am speaking to your spirit. This is not just another message. This is your confirmation. You are not going crazy. You are not cursed. You are not forgotten. What you're going through is not punishment, it's preparation. They tried to break you, but I'm here to tell you, you are rising. Many people threw dirt on your name because the garden I planted inside you scared them. You carry something they can't explain, something they can't copy, something they can't destroy, my light. They thought burying you would end your story. What they didn't know is that you were never a flower. You were a seed, and every lie they told, every rumor they spread, only helped water your purpose. The more they talked, the more I raised you. They didn't just attack a person. They touched what I've chosen. They weren't just fighting you, they came against my plan. And no one wins that fight. No one wins when they challenge divine order. To the ones who thought you were easy to destroy, they didn't know they were touching a force they couldn't control. You're not weak. You're not fragile. You're not a victim. You are my chosen, and you are powerful in ways even you don't fully see yet. They thought they could stab you and watch you fall. But every time they hurt you, they woke up something stronger in you. You didn't crumble. You transformed. You didn't break. You became more dangerous, more rooted, more aware, more aligned. I didn't pick you because you were loud. I didn't choose you because you were popular or flashy. I chose you because your soul could carry light into places most people run from. I chose you because you could glow in the dark, and not just survive it, but shine through it. That glow inside you, it's what they fear. That quiet strength, that peace they can't touch, that ability to smile while bleeding. That's what torments them. Not your words, not your gifts, but your presence. The lies they told, they're breaking down. The fake stories, burning to ash. The truth always comes to the surface. And I am bringing everything hidden into the light. Listen closely. You are not alone. You're not isolated. I'm with you. I've always been. When everyone else turned their backs, I was still standing beside you. Yes, they tried to plan your downfall like it was a game. But what they forgot is that the board belongs to me. You were never a pawn. You were the whole strategy. I placed you exactly where you needed to be. Nothing about your life has been random. They tried to silence you with rumors. They poisoned your name. They smiled in your face and stabbed your back. But that wasn't love, that was fear in disguise. They couldn't handle your light. So they tried to cover it up. They didn't mock you because you were weak. They did it because you reminded them of everything they were afraid to become. You stood for truth, and that made them nervous. You walked in light, and that made their shadows shake. They faked screenshots, spread false stories. But here's what they can't fake: time. Truth leaves a trail. And now, people are stepping up. People are waking up. Witnesses are tired of watching my chosen ones suffer. The pieces are shifting. Justice is moving. You doubted yourself. You wondered if you were the problem. But it wasn't your light that was wrong. It was the room that couldn't handle it. Sometimes, when stars shine too brightly, the clouds rush in to hide them. That doesn't make the stars stop shining. It just means the sky is adjusting. They weren't afraid of you. They were afraid of what I placed inside you. That ancient power. That deep knowing. That truth that shakes everything false around you. That energy that can't be duplicated. You weren't targeted because you were wrong. You were targeted because you were real. And nothing scares fake people more than someone who refuses to pretend. So stop asking, why did they do this to me? And start asking, who am I, really? Because when you truly understand your identity, you'll realize this battle was never about your weakness, it was always about your power. Darkness always tries to own what carries light. But hear me clearly, it will never win. You're not barely surviving, you're becoming, you're rising. You are my storm in stillness. You are my flame in a cold world. And every time they speak against you, I turn their words into fuel for your fire. Let them gather. Let them whisper. Let them twist your name. I am taking notes. I am not silent. And when I move, when I roar, it will be undeniable. I don't operate in whispers. I answer with storms. If you've felt the sting of betrayal, the sharpness of lies, the weight of being misunderstood, know this: you were never broken. You were being built. Every scar is a sign of construction. Every tear watered your roots. They shoveled dirt on you thinking you'd disappear. But they forgot, you are soil. You grow in dark places. You blossom underground. You expand when ignored. You multiply under pressure. Wolves smile before they attack. And some of them smiled in your face, watched your every move, studied you like prey. But they misread your silence. You were never weak, you were listening. You were watching. You were growing quiet fangs. They didn't test your strength by your words. They judged it by what you endured. And when your integrity shook their illusions, you became a threat. You didn't ask for power, but I placed it in your hands. You didn't beg to lead, but I made you a leader by how you carry pain with grace. You didn't destroy their system. Your existence revealed how broken it already was. And they panicked. So they turned against you, not with loud war, but with silence, confusion, whispers. That's how cowards move. They hide. They pretend. They lie softly. They wore masks of concern. They acted like friends. But they couldn't stand your truth. They tried to cancel you. But I already confirmed you. I already approved you. I already sealed your destiny with purpose. Now they're confused. Because you didn't fall. You didn't break. You didn't disappear. You stayed still. And they thought your stillness meant defeat. What they didn't know is that you were syncing with something bigger, aligning with my timing. When I choose someone, everything shifts. Paths open. Patterns break. Reality bends, not with noise, but with precision. This isn't just your comeback. This is their collapse. The lies they built are rotting. The schemes they started are crumbling. Their hands are now tainted from touching what wasn't theirs to touch. Just keep showing up. That alone drives them mad. You don't need to argue. You don't need revenge. Your presence does what words never could. Keep rising. Keep glowing. Your silence is louder than their gossip. Your consistency is their confusion. And for those of you still asking, why me? Hear me clearly, you're not being punished. You're being purified. I'm refining you. I'm shaping you for what's next. That betrayal wasn't to break you, it was to expose you. It revealed what's real and what's fake. It separated the wheat from the weeds. They tried to shut you up. But your presence already said everything that needed to be said. They tried to isolate you so you'd forget who you were. But I'm here to remind you. You are a system breaker. You are a frequency changer. You are a mirror to a world full of lies. You reflect what others are afraid to admit. You carry the sound of truth in your spirit. You were born for more. So shake off the doubt. Stop shrinking to fit into small spaces. Stop apologizing for your presence. Stop questioning your worth just because they couldn't see it. You were never born to be liked. You were born to be aligned asterisk. And when you align with me, time bends. Doors open. Truth surfaces. Power flows. And nothing can stop what I've already approved. You didn't lose them. I removed them. You didn't get rejected. I redirected you. You didn't fall. You were being positioned. So rise again, chosen one. Walk like you know who you are. Speak like you carry heaven. Move like you are sent. And remember this, when they tried to end you, they didn't realize they were giving you your beginning. You are not here by accident. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are my chosen. And I am not finished with you yet. Do not mourn the ones who disappeared when the heat of your calling began to rise. They were not meant to stand beside you. They were swept away by the force of what I placed inside you. You didn't push them away, their own fear removed them. They could not stand in the light I put in you, because they were never made to carry it. That light was too much for them, and it wasn't theirs to hold. So don't grieve those who vanished. They were not your loss. They were a sign of your growth. When my light begins to grow in someone, it burns away what cannot go with them. What couldn't stay, wasn't meant to. And those who left, they were already gone the moment you stepped into who you really are. And I want you to stop fighting battles that aren't yours. You don't need to prove the truth. That's not your burden. That truth will find them on its own. It will choke them slowly, without your hands ever touching it. You weren't born to argue, you were born to shift the air in a room just by being in it. You were born to change things just by standing still. Your very presence makes lies stumble. You force darkness to scatter just by walking in the light. The betrayal you felt, it wasn't personal. It was expected. It was the reaction of people who live in darkness, facing a soul full of my light. When light walks into a setup made of shadows, that setup falls apart. And that's what happened. You didn't do anything wrong. You did everything right. Stop apologizing for being hard for them to understand. You weren't made to be easy. You weren't designed to be comfortable for people who only know how to live inside illusions. You weren't built to blend in, you were built to break through. You were sent to uncover lies, to expose what's hidden, and to rebuild what was broken. They tried to play games with destiny, but they didn't realize you are the board. And now, I have made my next move through you. They called their chains, peace. They told you to sit still and called that balance. But it was never peace they were after, it was your silence. They wanted your obedience, not your growth. Your rising shook the lies they had built their entire identities on. That's why they told you to surrender. That's why they told you to shrink. It wasn't to humble you, it was to hide you. They watched other souls just like yours fold into lives that never truly belonged to them. They buried them, not in dirt, but in doubt. But you refused. You didn't fall for it. You didn't bow to the cage they called comfort. You didn't wear the leash they disguised as praise. You saw the slow death they named maturity, and you said no. They offered you words that sounded sweet, but had no roots. They told you, be still, but what they meant was, don't wake up. They didn't want your peace, they wanted your sleep. Because when you awaken, everything false begins to fall apart. Your awareness alone is dangerous to the systems built on blindness. You were never born to be controlled. You were born to move mountains. You were born to tear down what is decaying and lift up what is true. You were born to carry fire in your hands and truth in your mouth. They weren't afraid of how loud you were, they were afraid of how clear you are. Your clarity pierced through their performance. Your vision exposed their masks. Your ears caught every lie they tried to hide in sweet words. And the moment you refused to trade your power for their approval, they called you the problem. But you were never the problem. You were the solution to everything they hoped would stay broken. So they panicked. They couldn't put you in a cage, so they tried to fog your mind. They whispered confusion in your ear until you questioned your own heart. They told others, "You've changed. You're too aggressive. You're overreacting." But it wasn't anger. It wasn't madness. It was clarity. You saw clearly. You saw them clearly. They were never trying to protect you. They were protecting the broken system they helped build. You were never the danger. Your alignment was. Because when you align with my will, you become unshakable. You no longer beg. You no longer chase. You no longer wait for permission. And that terrifies them. You don't enter rooms looking for validation. You bring the power of heaven into those rooms. You carry the current, the truth, the shift. That's why they tried to trap you, not to stop your body, but to silence your soul. But it's too late now. You know who you are. You know what I placed in you. And that knowledge alone has made liars sweat. Your very presence bends their agendas. Your spirit shakes the foundations of every false structure. You rattle systems just by standing still. They wanted to break you before you realized the truth about yourself. But now you know. You were never fighting alone. The universe moves on your behalf. The wind shifts for you. The ground makes room beneath your feet. Chaos starts to organize itself because you exist in truth. You don't have to scream. Just by standing in who you are, false systems begin to crumble. That is a power they cannot buy, and they cannot silence. They grew desperate. They slandered your name. They tried to rewrite your story while you were still breathing. Why? Because they had no story of their own. You were the mirror that showed them how empty they really were. You never asked for this role, but I gave it to you. Not because you were the loudest, but because you were the clearest. You didn't chase power. You carried it. You didn't ask for influence. You became it. And now you wonder, am I too much? No, my child. You are not too much. They are too small. Too limited to understand the depth of your calling. Too fragile to stand in the heat without melting. Too shallow to carry the weight of truth. You are not too much. You are just enough for the mission I gave you. Don't shrink for rooms that were never built for you. Don't bow to voices that mistake silence for peace. Don't surrender the truth for comfort. You are not here to make them feel safe in their illusions. You are here to wake them up. That's why they set traps for you. Because your refusal to fold didn't just free you. It started breaking chains for others too. And that's what really scares them. You weren't sent here to decorate the illusion. You were sent to destroy it. You were sent to pull down what is false, and build what is true. You weren't sent to kneel. You were sent to stand. They tried to call you a breeze. Something soft. Something forgettable. But you were the earthquake beneath their streets. They thought you were a glitch in their system, a small mistake they could patch. But you were the correction. And the shaking hasn't stopped. Now their lies are turning back on them. The words they sharpened to cut you are slicing their own confidence. Their tongues now taste the truth, and it tastes like blood. They whisper your name in fear, not in love. Not in curiosity, but in dread. Because they know, deep down, they couldn't break you. They thought silence would erase you. They thought gossip would stop your rise. They thought their small circles and their sideways looks could stop your purpose. But you never chased them. You never lashed out. You just stood in who you are. And in that stillness, you became unshakable. You became the pillar I made you to be. Now look at them, staggering through the stories they made up. Choking on their own lies. Trying to find stability where there is none. And you're just beginning. You've only scratched the surface of who you are. So don't doubt yourself. Don't apologize. Don't look back. I chose you for this. I trusted you with this light. And I know what I placed inside of you. You are not a mistake. You are not a problem. You are my answer to what the world forgot. You are my light in places too used to darkness. You are the disruption to cycles that never should have started. So go. Keep walking. Keep standing. Keep speaking. Keep being exactly who I made you to be. Because the world doesn't need more silence. It needs your fire. It needs your voice. It needs your truth. And you, my child, my chosen one, you are ready. My child, listen closely. I want you to understand something deep today. This story, the one they tried to write about you, it's not theirs to finish. You are the author. You are the pen. You are the flood that washed away the lies they inked about you. They boasted like they held your future in their hands, as if their applause gave your life meaning. They acted like they ran the universe, like they were in charge of your beginning and your end. But they were wrong. The rope they tied around your name, the story they tried to trap you in, it's unraveling now. Fast. Their grip is slipping. Their hands are shaking. The truth is breaking through. The heavens are editing your story without their permission. And you, my beloved, you didn't just survive what they planned. You didn't just crawl away quietly. You rose. You rewrote the whole narrative. You built a new chapter where they thought there would be ashes. You rose, not because of luck, but because I called you. My voice echoed through your bones louder than their schemes. My summons was stronger than their sabotage. Power, true power, divine power, it doesn't stomp around, screaming for attention. It moves quietly. And when it shows up, the fake things can't stand. Your silence was your sword. Your peace was your protection. You didn't fight with fists. You didn't lower yourself to explain your worth to those who tossed stones and then pretended it was for your growth. That silence, that dignity, that was your armor. They never understood that. They misread the whole game. They thought you were playing by their rules. But you weren't even on their board. You were walking by laws written in spirit, in fire, in the very bones of your destiny. Laws they had no right to even glimpse. Now, they curse in quiet corners. Not because you failed, but because you got away. Every step you took away from their stage exposed the chains they were still wearing. You broke free and made it look holy. You made trusting yourself look sacred. You made saying, no, sound like a whole revolution. They only had power because you gave them access. But you took it back. You outgrew them. And that's the bruise they can't heal. You bloomed in soil they tried to poison. You took flight in winds they thought would break your wings. They didn't know you were born for this. You've become a walking truth. Fireproof. Unshakable. A reminder they can't run from. You proved that control is an illusion. Those who play at being gods always end up begging the storm for mercy. But you are the storm. Your victory was never dependent on their surrender. It was in every breath I placed in you. Your win was sealed by my voice, by your ancestors' prayers, by the heartbeat of the universe itself, ripping open systems built to silence you. When they tried to contain you, your reach just grew. When they tried to erase you, your presence became undeniable. Your very light is a mirror they can't bear to face. So don't you dare dim now. You made it through betrayal, through exile, through the dark night of the soul. You didn't come back into the room to sit quietly. You came back as thunder, as a rising flood, as the crack in the foundation they swore would never move. Now they stand in the ruins of their own pride, searching for someone to blame. Let them. Their rage, their silence, their spin, it's not your burden anymore. You don't owe them understanding. You don't owe them peace. You owe yourself every drop of the freedom you bled for. You are the quake that shakes false foundations. You are the echo they can't silence. You are the blaze that burns through every lie wrapped in charm. And listen closely, you have only just begun. Long before you spoke your first word, heaven already whispered about your arrival. People felt your presence before you ever stepped into the room. When your truth shows up, lies forget how to breathe. That's why they fear you. They don't fear the predictable, they fear what won't bend. That's you. You don't fit in their boxes. You don't sit neatly on their shelves. You are the question mark they cannot flatten. The storm they can't predict. The blade that slices through illusions. They've tried to label you, reckless, too much, unstable. But none of their stickers can make you small enough to fit in their pocket. They sensed your voltage before you did. You walked in with peace, and their world trembled. Not because you shouted, but because you stood still. Whole, unbent, unmistakable. They built towers out of lies. Glossy, pretty, polished, masks so perfect they fooled themselves. And then you arrived, not with anger, not with noise, but with presence. And the glass shattered. That's what makes you dangerous. You didn't need to scream. You just needed to be asterisk. That's what they'll never forget. Don't mistake their trembling for hate. It's survival instinct. Every time you speak the truth, their pretend kingdom cracks a little more. Your steady voice exposes their hush. Your strength makes their manipulation look weak. Your vision reveals that their cages were only made of paper. They whisper behind closed doors. They try to smear your name. But listen to me, they aren't scared because you lied. They're scared because you won't believe theirs. You see through it all, the fake smiles, the subtle betrayal, the performance sold as kindness. You are clarity, and that clarity shakes them down to their bones. Because you prove that real power doesn't come from control. It comes from standing tall, on your own spine. One person, fully in truth, can break a hall of mirrors without lifting a single hand. That's you. That's why they watch you. That's why they fear you. They tried to crush your spark before it spread. They tried to isolate you, to ridicule you, to twist your image. But fire, when it's hidden, only grows hotter. Your fire is ancient, sacred, woven into the very design of the universe. No fake smile, no polished lie, no suit and tie can put it out. So when they call you too intense, too loud, too bold, hear what they're really saying: we couldn't color you in. That's your confirmation. That's your certificate. They tried to trap you. But your light outgrew every box. And yes, some nights, you still ask me, if I'm chosen, why do I feel so alone? Let me remind you, nobody throws stones at statues unless they're worth noticing. The irrelevant aren't plotted against. The ones with no light don't threaten darkness. They sense your magnitude, even when you don't. Your alignment shakes their illusions. Just your presence bends their masks. That's why the attacks keep coming. Because you're the tremor under their feet. You're the sound of the old script being torn. Don't shrink yourself to comfort them. Don't quiet your truth to soothe their fear. Their fear is their own lesson. You weren't sent to put people to sleep. You were sent to wake them up. You weren't sent as a lullaby. You were sent as a storm. They built walls, yes. But you turned those walls into thrones. They buried you in conflict. And under pressure, you forged a crown. Every time they tried to block you, it revealed how powerful you really are. Every obstacle shouted your purpose louder. They are clawing at the ground, trying to stop what I've started. But they can't. It's hopeless, and they know it. That's why they're desperate. Because you are a threat, not just to their comfort, but to their false identity. You move like someone who doesn't need permission. You speak like someone who remembers who sent them. Nothing terrifies false power more than a soul rooted in truth. A soul that won't bow. A soul that can't be bribed. My child, remember this. One soul in alignment with my voice is more powerful than 1,000 pretending. That is why they tried so hard to stop you. That is why they fought so hard to confuse you. But it's too late. You've seen through it all. You're rising anyway. Let the wind howl. Let the fear speak. Let them whisper in wonder. You are not theirs to define. You never were. You are mine. And I have called you chosen. I have called you fire. I have called you a storm wrapped in grace. I have called you the breaker of chains. The light in the dark. The echo of my voice in a sleeping world. You are the beginning of a new script. You are the flood that drowns the lie. You are the breath of truth in a suffocating room. You are not a mistake. You are not too much. You are not wrong for being unshakable. You are the reason the ground is trembling. You are the shift they can't stop. And beloved, you have only just begun. My beloved child. Listen to me now. Come close. Sit with me for a moment and let your spirit be still. There is something I need you to hear, something the world has tried to silence inside you for far too long. No more bargaining with doubt. No more letting fear whisper its lies into your heart. No more giving your energy to second-guessing yourself, trying to earn the approval of people who never had the authority to judge your worth. That game is over. I did not call you to be uncertain. I called you to be unstoppable. They try to confuse you, to make you question your strength. They throw sideways comments at you like knives, hoping you'll bleed just enough to stop walking forward. They offer backhanded advice wrapped in false concern. They keep quiet when they should have spoken up for you. But none of that means they're stronger, it means they're scared. Scared of what you carry. Scared of what you see. Scared of what your presence does to the lies they built their comfort on. They don't want to fight you directly, child. They don't want to face you on equal ground because they already know they would lose. So instead, they try to slow you down with fog of confusion, doubt, guilt, and silence. They'd rather blur you than battle you. Because in the clear light of truth, they cannot stand. But I say to you, you do not belong to the fog. Asterisk. You are no longer someone begging for acceptance. You graduated from that place the day you finally realized this truth. Your value is not up for discussion. Your worth is not a debate. It never was. You don't need anyone's permission to walk in the purpose I gave you. That permission was always a myth, a lie told to you by those who needed your silence to keep their illusion alive. But that illusion is cracking. That silence has turned into a roar. And what they once used to hold you down is now becoming the very cloth of your royalty. Yes, child, you are royalty. Asterisk. Every time they resisted you, they only proved how powerful you are. Kings and queens are rarely welcomed with open arms. Light never walks without shadows chasing it. And truth is always followed by resistance. But resistance is not rejection, it is recognition. They don't gather in secret rooms to talk about people who don't matter. They gather because you are a threat to the system they built. They speak your name behind closed doors because every syllable of your truth shakes the foundation of their deception. Your very existence confronts their comfortable lies. They plot, they whisper, they scheme, not because you're weak, but because you're dangerous to every false thing they protect. You walk into rooms like a quiet storm, and suddenly, their control begins to tremble. It's not your volume that shakes them, it's your essence. You don't even have to speak. You just have to be. You carry my truth in your bones. And that terrifies anyone who has built their power on lies. So wear their resistance like a royal robe. Let it be the proof that you are rising. Because every time you step into a new level, new opposition appears. But that's only because each level you climb reveals more of what has been hidden. It's not a sign you're off course, it's confirmation you're exactly where I want you. The noise around you will get louder the closer you get to your calling. The distractions will rise. The static will scream. That is because the terrain is shifting. You are rewriting the story, without asking for their permission. You are living proof that the old blueprint can be burned. Royalty doesn't shrink into the background. My chosen ones don't dim themselves to make others comfortable. You don't tiptoe. You illuminate. Let their fear rise. Let it expose their hearts. Let them talk, scheme, swing, and try to throw you off course. Every attempt only writes the truth deeper into the story. Every lie they spread is now evidence of how badly they wanted to bury your voice. But they can't bury what I have crowned. They cannot control what I have called. They have no say over your destiny. I placed the authority in you, not in their systems, their stages, or their platforms. I never placed your crown on their table. It has always been waiting in your hands. Asterisk. And when you finally accepted that, when you stood up and believed in the identity I gave you, everything shifted. The air changed, not just in you, but in every room you enter. You bring alignment. You bring exposure. You bring truth. You bring me. Asterisk. Chosen ones don't just survive battles. They transform them. You are not here just to outlast. You are here to turn every storm into a seat of power. You are here to turn friction into fire. You are here to take your place, not to beg for one. The throne with your name on it is already carved. They stacked their power on stories that never happened. They crowned themselves with paper glory and sat on chairs made of lies. They bragged about being untouchable, while quietly shaking inside. But now the truth is pulling everything apart. The time has come for every false crown to fall. Watch as the chairs they claimed start to sink. Watch as their masks slip. Because power built on lies doesn't explode, it collapses. It doesn't go down in flames. It caves inward, quietly, slowly, under the weight of truth. The pressure they feel, that's me. That's truth spreading like water under the foundation. And no man can stop what is divine. Let them pace. Let them whisper. Let them gather in fear around their fragile mirrors. The walls they built were never solid. Their kingdoms were never strong. One honest presence, your presence, is enough to cause everything fake to tremble. You were the moment they feared. You were the one they prayed would stay quiet. You were the sound that rattled their cages without even raising your voice. You didn't need to fight them. You only needed to show up with clarity. Your stillness made them sweat. Your peace made them panic. Your light became the test that revealed what was real and what was not. You didn't burn their tent down. You just walked into it, and it started to fall. You weren't fooled by their performances. You saw through the smiles that never touched their eyes. You felt the coldness when real truth entered the room. You noticed the disconnect between their words and their energy. And you didn't play along. That stillness, asterisk that refusal to perform, was your proof. They couldn't understand how someone could be so calm in the storm. But I was holding you. And your silence was louder than their noise. The moment they tried to silence you, they accidentally announced your arrival. The moment they bent truth to keep you hidden, they made your light even brighter. You never needed their platform to stand tall. I was your foundation. They prayed for the universe to quiet you, to erase you. But I don't answer cowardly prayers. I don't protect illusions. I move with what's real. I partner with those who walk in truth. And you, my child, are real. You are not a copy. You are not a shadow. You are not an echo of someone else's dream. You are the original, the blueprint, the key. Let them hide. Let them decorate their fading power with noise. It will not last. They chased titles they didn't earn. They wore masks that didn't fit. They built kingdoms out of borrowed dignity. But now those walls are bending. The beams are hollow. The throne they hijacked is crumbling beneath them. You never had to light a fire. You just had to enter honestly. And you did. So keep walking. Keep glowing. Keep speaking. Keep showing the way. By example, not explanation. Because nothing false can withstand your presence. You don't have to shout. You don't have to fight. You only have to stay real. Asterisk. Their story is unraveling. The performance is aging them. Their strength is slipping because it was never theirs to begin with. You, however, are not aging, you are ascending. You are no longer part of their orbit. You've become the sun in your own system. And they can no longer ignore your pull. Stop asking if you have the right. Stop wondering if you're worthy. You are. Asterisk. Not because man said so. But because I did. Asterisk. You have the right to speak. You have the right to shine. You have the right to lead. You have the right to rise. This is your confirmation. This is your release. And this, right now, is your moment. Step into it, child. Step fully. They cannot stop what I have ordained. Their resistance was only a sign of your reign. Let them watch. Let them wonder. But you walk forward. Asterisk. The shift has already begun. And you are the reason why. I am with you. I am for you. And I am proud of you. You are chosen. Now rise. God. My beloved child. You never chose the easy way. You chose what was real, even when it was hard. And because you made that one choice, to stand for truth instead of comfort, I have armed you with a power that no earthly ruler can match. Those who rule through fear may look strong for a moment, but their strength is empty. It doesn't last. But you, because you chose me, you now carry something they can never copy. They can try to sound like you. They can borrow your words. They can even study your ways and rehearse how to appear real. But the truth is, real cannot be imitated. Asterisk. They might copy the lyrics, but they will never have the music. They might wear the costume, but the presence, your true presence, cannot be faked. They can't buy alignment. They can't purchase what only I can place inside you. You don't need bodyguards to protect what's real. You don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to fight to make a statement. You just stand, and that's enough. You stand because I made you stand. And when you stand, everything false begins to fall. You are the turning point. You are the pivot that brings change. You were born to tear down things that should never have existed in the first place. You are the living proof that I, your God, always bring balance back to the world. I never lose track of what belongs to me. And you are mine. When someone is truly chosen by me, lies cannot survive around them. False power begins to melt. Fake thrones begin to crumble. Shadows scatter. Darkness runs. Why? Because you didn't ask for light, you became light. You carry it like a tool, even when you didn't ask for it. You weren't sent to crush people. You were sent to reveal truth. But the moment you stood up and revealed what was real, everything false started collapsing. You never even had to lift a weapon. You never had to shout or strike or roar. Your quiet obedience caused earthquakes in their structures. Your stillness shook their foundations. They noticed it before they were willing to admit it. Before they could say it out loud, they felt the ground tilting under them. While you stood quietly, they panicked. You didn't chase them. You didn't attack them. Yet, the traps they set for you, they began falling apart. The lies they tried to use against you backfired. The weapons they built with their own hands ended up cutting them instead. They tried to make you look like the danger. They framed you as the problem. But the truth is, they were the ones who stirred the chaos. Their own plans turned against them. Their whispers, once confident, now sound weak. Their eyes can't hold yours. Their voices tremble. They used to walk into rooms proud and puffed up, but now they scan for exits, like hunted souls. That's not your doing. That's what happens when truth walks into the room. Truth doesn't shout. Truth doesn't rush. It simply waits for the moment, and when the time is right, it turns the lights on. And everything hiding in the dark gets exposed. You didn't ask for this battle. You didn't go looking for war. But the moment they chose to target you, they unknowingly handed you a crown of endurance. They thought pressure would crush you, but it only made you stronger. They thought exile would break your voice, but it made you clearer. They thought if they removed you, you would disappear, but I made sure you remained. And when the smoke cleared, there you were, still standing. Still glowing. Still speaking truth with peace in your heart. They love to talk about order and structure and balance. But the truth is, disorder follows them. Their friendships are fake. Their loyalties are thin. Their supporters are disappearing. They contradict themselves. You didn't have to argue. You didn't have to defend. You just kept walking in truth, and their story fell apart all by itself. They wrote the wrong script. They couldn't keep their lies straight. Plot holes started devouring plot holes. Nothing lined up anymore, and all you did was show up. Real, honest, quiet, present, and that presence alone began to strip the masks off every fake face around you. You never needed their approval to rise. You rose because you were aligned with me. And alignment with me terrifies those who rely on tricks and shadows. They survive in confusion. You brought clarity. They hide in dim corners. You brought light. And that light, it burned through every disguise. They said you were unstable. They said you were fake. They tried to convince others you were reckless. But every time they said your name, more eyes turned your way, and they saw the truth. They saw someone who heals, who rises, who glows without bitterness or hate. You didn't have to scream. You didn't need to defend yourself. Your existence in purity was louder than their noise. Their collapse had nothing to do with your hands. It was their own pride that took them down. They thought you were the obstacle. But they forgot, I made you the balance. You were the return. You were the correction. Everything they tried to suppress came back multiplied in your rise. Your rise wasn't violent, but it thundered. Healing thundered. Growth echoed. Refusing to shrink roared louder than any threat. They pretended there was no storm. But you became the lightning bolt. You cracked the sky open. You exposed what they tried to hide. They thought they could erase you. They mocked you, ignored you, isolated you. They thought that would make you fade away. But you didn't fade. You climbed. And while you climbed, their towers shook. Their foundations cracked. Their focus on ending you only caused more people to look your way. Every lie they told became the very soil I used to strengthen your roots. And now, look, they retreat. They scramble. They try to fix their reputations, but the shine is gone. The story is over. And you are lighter now. Free. You no longer carry their judgment. You are no longer tied to their opinions. You owe them nothing. No softness. No apology. Not even a pause. Your rising was never about them. Their fall was never your responsibility. Their collapse is the price of trying to stop someone who wasn't even trying to fight. They picked a game you never agreed to play. They misunderstood what it means to walk in divine timing. They thought your stillness was weakness. But your stillness was strategy. It was obedience. It was power. So let them fall. Let them get stuck in the mud of their own making. Keep climbing. Keep moving. That's what shakes them. Your progress, your peace, that's what pricks their skin. Because you are still here. Still rising. Still holding ground. Still glowing. You are undeniable asterisk. You are unshakable asterisk. You are evidence that truth always wins, and real force never has to ask for permission. You are proof that what is genuine outlasts everything fake. They thought your story was over. But now they must sit and watch the extended version. The part they never expected. The part where you continue. The part where you ascend. So, my chosen one, if these words ring inside your spirit, hold them close. They are for you. I am speaking to the ones who have stood still while everything shook. To the ones who refused to bend to lies. To the ones who have risen without bitterness. To the ones who have carried my truth without shouting. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not small. You are exactly where I placed you. Your rising is not coming, it's already begun. And the crashing of every counterfeit throne has already started. You are my chosen. You are my reminder to the earth that real cannot be destroyed. Now keep going. Don't slow down. Don't look back. What I have prepared for you is ahead, not behind. And no one can steal what I have written over your life. I love you. I am proud of you. And I am with you always, God.